The morning run. So, this morning I arise early and go to the living room to get my wife up from the couch, where she has been sleeping last 2 years, to come upstairs to cuddle. I have been attempting to be more loving, so have been getting her up in morning and having her come to bed with me for a while. Sometimes bonding, sometimes not, but having her lay with me for a while, as I attempted to find out if she was available. She says to me, "Oh, please don't make me have fun this morning, my legs are so sore." This is the woman who went from turning me down constantly for 28 years, to now has bonding pretty much if I ask, but lets me know it is like doing the dishes for her, a crappy chore she does to get it over with. This is the woman who last time we had slept together, when asked if she would consider, said, "Go take a shower," and I then got up, took a great shower, came back to bed, and she refused. Don't know why I am complaining. She gave me a 2-minute deal back in April. What can a guy reasonably expect after 30 years of marriage? Back to this morning, I was screaming inside, but I think I kept my cool pretty well. Waited a bit, then got up and got around for work. She called moments ago while out shopping. Guess the legs healed up okay. Don't know why I posted this. Guess I needed to blow off steam somehow. I couldn't no longer make her do anything than I could the man in the moon. Bonding currently for her is just annoying, and I am a pervert to expect it more than say 2 to 3 times a month. She grants me that much. I will start making her sleep with me. I think I will go with once every day to start. That will piss her off. About the good job. First off, this was a couple of nights ago. Second, I willingly went and took a shower. Not a problem at all, and not, I think, an unreasonable request. Third, a simple "not tonight" would not have ruined my evening nor cause any problems. Disappointment maybe, but not a problem. I just felt what was done was. About the couch, she moved out of our bedroom 3 years ago, says I snore, and I do. She can't sleep. I have tried to get her to at least use one of our 3 empty bedrooms. She refuses. About 3 years ago she quit initiating any bonding, told me she loved me but not in love with me, let me know that if I had to sleep would basically go along with it. But don't expect her to be responsive or anything. Oh, and hurry it up, would you? 3 years ago, all of a sudden W isn't having any satisfaction. 3 years ago, some problems with our adult daughter caused my wife to feel the need of some antidepressants, which she continues to take and I feel are the real root of the problem. I had a consultation with her doctor during a routine visit of my own. Didn't go into much detail but asked if he would talk with her about any problems she might be having. He agreed. I made an appointment for her. She canceled it at the last minute, refuses to go. So now, I try and get her to come up to at least spoon a bit, which she does and doesn't seem to mind at all, but only once in the last year did she come upstairs and climb into bed without me getting her. So yeah, to have sleep together I have to go downstairs, wake her up, get her to come upstairs and do the deed. But that is how she set it up. You know, until I typed all this out, didn't really realize how pathetic this is. But talk about loser, that's me. I kind of think I am just working up to do what I need to do. She went in for her annual exam and convinced the nurse to extend the prescription. How does a guy, whose wife told him 3 years ago that she didn't love him, and this weekend told me that her boyfriend treats her so well and I never did, fight for his marriage? Seems to me that both parties need to want it. And I don't think that is going to happen. God, can I please just think about something else for a while? Have 5 hours sleep, last 48 hours, have not eaten, and still not hungry. I know, quit your whining. I am trying. I have been going through 3 years of hell at home, no real affection, lots of resentment from both my W and me, some pretty rough times. I have contemplated divorce, but was reluctant to give up on my 30-year marriage. Felt like this was the worst in B or W and I really take that vow seriously. My kids are all but grown. One is going to be a junior in college, the other 2 are 24 and married, and 27, bipolar and a constant source of frustration, exasperation, putting it mildly, but to tell that story would take a novel, and I am afraid this one is going to be too long as it is. In December 2009, my troubled one moved back home, from Utah where she had lived for 3 years, and had refused to talk to us, wrote us off, and that was a disaster. Her time here was stressful. Finally she got her own place in Florida, but before she was gone my wife was prescribed antidepressant, and I believe the meds, along with that smothering stress, brought on her subsequent lack of libido, and a slide into the abyss. More here as well. Couple of months ago, my W, who does not work outside the home, started doing odd jobs working with a family friend of 22 years. If there is a power tool in our home it is hers, not mine. And at first I was happy. I was actually glad that she was doing something that seemed to make her happy, a very rare occurrence, and the little extra money would come in handy as well, especially since she seemed to really like having her own money. I am not wealthy, but we live a nice suburban Americana lifestyle. But the little she made helped pump her ego. I became suspicious of her relationship with this friend as they did a lot of things together. Went to auction sales together, buying tools. I get bored easily at auctions. She loves them. The other man was happy to go with her, as he likes auctions as well, etc. Said a night I waited for her to fall asleep, then checked her cell phone, and on there were these texts from the OM, professing his love for her. Looking at the sent messages, I saw where she expressed her love for him. Thank you for loving me. I needed you so much, so at 3 a.m. I loaded my shotty and headed for his house, not to X him but to put loads of double-aught buckshot into his car and truck. As I patrolled the area to make sure no cops were about, my head cleared a bit and I realized to do jail time would just be stupid, so I proceeded to drive around thinking a million thoughts, my head spinning. After an hour or so I drove back past his house. He lives 5 minutes from me, and parked in front was my wife. She had found the empty gun box, figured out where I was. There is some info missing here, how she figured it out, etc. As I drove up, she jumped out of her car and ran over to me saying, "Your problem is with me, not with him." I rolled down my window and said, "You are right, you crap. You go right now and pack your bags and get the hell out of my house." She then said, "I love him. He treats me better than you ever have. You have never treated me good." She proceeded to drive home, load her suitcases and leave, going to his house. Now this is Sunday 4 a.m. On Monday I received a tearful phone call on my voicemail informing me that she wasn't going to take me to the cleaners. I texted her, "What do you want?" "My attorney's name is X and his phone is X," was her reply. I called the @, and all she basically wanted was her personal things and 50. Now her half of our assets would be worth much more than that, the vast majority tied up in our business, not liquid at all, and if forced to sell in this market easily 300 would be lost. I had been concerned that I would be forced to sell to pay her off, so that made me breathe a little easier. I know the attorney picked up on my surprise and he stated all she wants is to get this over with and get on with life. A friend had explained to me that in Indiana, H&W, if they can agree on the split of assets, can use one attorney, draw up an agreement, sign it, give it to a judge to sign, and 60 days later, boom. URD. I asked if that were true and it was. So I texted my wife back that I was basically in agreement, thought we could go this route. "Fine, as long as it is not contested," says she. Today I met with my attorney. He agreed to review the doc for me. I then called her guy back, discussed a couple of items he had brought up, mentioned that she missed her 20+ oil lamps and she would want them on the list, and in 20 minutes hammered out the basics of the entire agreement. Tonight, as I looked the texts over, I believe strongly that this was the very first encounter, and triggered by my being an ass and going to the office to get away from her. I have done a lot of that the last 2 years, not giving her any breaks but just acknowledging my fault in this as well. This knowledge has caused me to lose 90% of my anger. Still have 100% of the hurt of betrayal, but thinking for the first time this can be saved. Can't believe I am saying this, as I still do very much love my wife. I haven't been able to stand living with her the last 2 years, but I can remember back just before that. My youngest started college, we were empty nesters, and loving it in each other. Best 4 months of our marriage. So, my inclination is to hurry through the D to conserve our business, then thinking about looking into recon. Am I delusional? I realize she would have to be willing to try, and all that, but am I just in denial? Will I wake up 3 weeks from now and hate her all over again, a product of this wave of emotion I have been on? Is this just me wishing? I don't understand momentary, but actually before our 4-month empty nest, I would rate our marriage as better than average. Just those 4 months were awesome. Our business was doing well, money issues still existed, own your own business. But I felt we're going from pretty good to great. Then she arrived. As luck would have it, we were scheduled to fly to Florida together today to see about my troubled one's new baby that, because of her mother, is temporarily in the welfare system. I backed out of going. My W is going tomorrow as there is a hearing on Thursday concerning her care. My W has to stay there for 4 weeks to care for the baby along with my daughter, while she completes some evaluations, otherwise my grandbaby goes into the system. At least she will be away from the other man for a while. I don't think it is a lust thing for her so much as my treating her like crap, which I did her. She did me, for the last 2 years. This guy comes along, he is a real likable fellow, he starts paying attention to her, does things with her. At the initial confrontation it was no remorse, but I kind of think the money offer was a direct reflection of her feeling guilty. Again, I might be wrong. But as I write this at 5 a.m., having been up all night again, I am thinking that I never even talked with her, had a good old yelling match, and realized that for the last 2 years I haven't either, and I think that is a mistake. I am a no confirmational, keep to yourself kind of guy. This is one area of weakness when it comes to relationships. Instead of getting any problem out in the open, I hold it in and the resentment grows, and it has grown huge. Her actions at that time were passively aggressive. I read a lot about what that is and realized I am just as guilty of doing that to her. This is where our counseling should start. I'm thinking 2 things. 1. How dare I not be there for my grandbaby tomorrow, just because of my W and my problems? That is not what I am about. My family has always meant the most to me. If I am guilty of anything there, it is that over the years I have locked into my work to make things good for them, when I should have been working more on being a better person for them. I have my own issues. And 2. Doesn't 30 years deserve more from me than a get the hell out of my house, don't even talk to me? I am booking a flight to Florida. I will be at that hearing tomorrow where I should be. I will get to see my granddaughter, first, for only the second time in her 5 months of being on this earth. I am going to ask my W to talk to me. I am going to ask her if she would be willing to try. I don't think she will, but I really should ask. Hell, I was 16 when we started dating and I am 51, almost 52 now. I am not totally scared to go on without her if she does not want to try, but I really should ask her, not beg, not plead, ask her if she wants to. Do you know how much tickets cost when you buy them the day you want to travel? Crapola, but it booked. I am going to be there tonight for tomorrow morning's hearing and I'm going to ask. Definitely nuts, I know. I realize that it is probably 80 to 20 against me. I don't really think desperate, but if I don't ask, I will never be able to forgive myself. She says no, I am prepared to continue on without her, and I realize that even if she says yes, a real crapshoot for success at best. But 30 years deserves more than a you be on the street ending. Let's see, I now have 3 hours to get my haircut, get some new shoes, important to look good for the judge, pack my overnight bag, make out my payroll, and get on the road. Guess I will sleep on the plane. Well, after the trip from hell, cracked windshield and plane made me miss connection, causing me to get to Florida 12 hours after original start time. My itinerary was supposed to be 5, then second airport had major storms backing up flights for hours. I have never had a travel experience like that. I am going about my granddaughter tomorrow, so glad I came for her, can't wait to see her. No matter what I say, she is in love with him, I won't change that. I know the other man, remember 22 years, he is a neat Nick. She is borderline hoarder with the line getting thinner and thinner every year. He's going to die. She can't help herself. That's going to be revenge enough against him. I know it is coming. I gain nothing to even really try tomorrow, and I am not going to. I am going to be civil, polite, but firm. I am going to shine tomorrow. I am excellent in these type situations. I had to laugh. She flew down and had to take the bus from the airport to downtown, where my daughter picked her up, just to save one day on the car rental. She is definitely not used to that. I am sure she is fine with it, as the young lovers are taking it on together, but that kind of deal will get old to her eventually. I also did remember how miserable I was. It was overwhelming at times, because I knew she didn't love me. Then the unbelievable happened. I kind of got hit on in the airport. I always travel with the W before. That was a different experience. I have received so many calls from concerned friends that I can't help but feel loved. Tomorrow, right before I leave to go to the courthouse, I am going to read through the Just Let Them Go thread again to get Prime. I am going to be fine. I am not saying I would never consider R, but that would require a lot of counseling. I will wait for her to start, and she never does. That is her choice as well. A lot of good times in the meantime. In fact, did you know that Vegas is on the way home from Florida? The advice to improve myself is excellent as well. It is just so unbelievable how my emotions have been toxic. Got to be careful of that. Actually ate a sandwich today, first food in 3 days. Really, I will make it. Looking forward to a few months of chilling and finding new things to do. Not looking for any woman anytime soon. Going to get me shaped up and chill with my buds. Thanks again, all of you. I will be vigilant against the despair I have felt 2 to 3 times a day. Won't let it take me. I can be nice to her because I know her betrayal is going to eat at her, especially if I give her no reason to hate me. Where is that agreement? Where do I sign? Oh, there is no spousal support in Indiana. Going to bed to sleep. Haven't been able to do that lately. Feeling sleepy now. Betrayal. It can finish you with emotions it causes. Update, I am back in Indiana. She is still in Florida seeing about our grandchild. Things are going good in that field. The authorities have approved my daughter's home for the baby and now seem to be actively engaged in returning her to my daughter and W. The deal is my W is actually the caretaker for the baby. It is hoped that in the next couple of weeks or so, daughter will have complete care and custody of the baby, at which time my W is going to return to Indiana. The night before I left to come back, we were working on the apartment until rather late. We sat down to relax. I looked at her and she said, "What are you looking at? Thanks for giving me an opening." We had a 2-hour conversation, and a lot of good information was exchanged. I expressed my love for her, learned that she has really been suffering for the last 4 years. I explained to her that I felt that through lots and lots of counseling we could be together and things would be as they should have been, not the way they were. As it was after 1 a.m. in the morning, she said she just felt numb and would not answer me as to yay or nay on the reconcile. The next morning, Monday of this week, as I was preparing to go to the airport, I told her, "I will trade you even up. Your last 4 years of troubles from me for the last 2 weeks of what you did to me with that I left." Since then, I attended the first counseling session I have ever had, and was pleased to find out that the discussion we had and what was said was almost exactly what the counselor suggested. We find out today if the baby goes to my W and daughter. Social worker believes that to be the case. At my counselor's suggestion, I am going to wait until Sunday, letting things settle a bit down there, before I call and ask her decision. That phone call scares me. I have practiced the paragraph from Just Let Them Go for when they can't make a decision, telling them that you will make it for them. My heart sinks, my stomach rolls, my blood pressure rises when I think of making that call. But I will make the call. I will require an answer. I will live with her choice. I have a sheet prepared for the call. One side is no, unsure. It contains the paragraph from Just Let Them Go. The other side is yes, work on marriage. On it, it contains 1. Divorce will continue. 2. You will call the other man immediately and tell him that you have decided to work on your marriage. You will tell him to do not contact you, and if he does in any way you will notify me immediately. You will tell him to box up what belongings he has at his home, put them on his porch. Call my office. I am his insurance agent, and I will arrange for someone other than myself to pick them up. To refresh your memory, upon discovering the POE, I told her to leave, which she did in the middle of the night. Going to his house, 2 days later she went to Florida. 3. I will set up a time for you to start counseling by phone, so when you get back, we will be up and running. Does anyone have any additions, corrections, comments on my list? I have some friends who tell me I am in denial about my situation, and they are probably right. But I needed to do what I could in order to live with myself in the future. I pray each day to have the strength to carry out this plan. I already belong to a gym. I am a swimmer, but have started working out on the machines for the first time, and I really like it. I have lost 18 pounds from this in 12 days. A good start. Not the best way to go about it, but still a good start. I have been spending lots of time with my college student child who is home for the summer. Sworn off any alcohol. Therapist asked me about liquor, which I was drinking a bottle of wine a night. When I told her I haven't had a drop, she raised an eyebrow, and I explained the alcohol is a depressant and I figure I don't need any more depressing. I need to keep my head clear, and sworn off TV, which I used to veg in front of every night after drinking wine, choosing instead to work in my yard or do an activity with my kid. I have had dinner each night at the dining room table with her. We were notorious eat in front of the TV people, which I never liked, and I am making plans to go out Saturday night on a friend date with a woman I know, with the intent on getting dating hints from her for when I start dating again. That's going to be a while. I started dating my wife 35 years ago today, and I am 51, so I never even really dated anyone else. That is really scary. Today has been the toughest day in a week. I am sick about Sunday night phone call, because I think I know what the answer will not be. Yes, work on our marriage. With that in mind, I have spent the day reading. Just let them go. I used to think I was a pretty tough guy. Well, this tough guy is being brought to his knees. This really hurts. Made the call. She was surprisingly unemotional. I asked if she had decided what she wanted to do. She said about what? I said, I don't think that is something I want to do. I told her okay, held my emotions well, wished her luck. She asked if we should wait a bit until daughter in Florida gets her affairs completely cleared up. I said no need to wait. No more limbo. Going to sweat it until it is final. Surprisingly, I feel calm. I hurt like all get out, but at least I tried. Now on with my life. I am surprised at the deep hurt going through me right now. I had thought that I was over that part, but I guess the part of me that was in denial hadn't got hurt yet. Just that after 30 years you begin to wonder if it were all a lie. Life with her has been miserable the last 3 years. I today felt again the tug at my heart, missing the intimacy that we had shared at one time. For some reason I have a hard time putting myself back, say 6 months ago, when I was hurting for lack of intimacy from her. If I could remember how miserable I was, and because of her lack of interest in me, I think that would help. But for some reason those memories are hidden by the hurt from the betrayal. I am dedicated to getting the D as fast and soon as I can. Can't wait for it to be done. As for him, he is 62 and his wife died of brain cancer a year and a half ago. Both my W and I went to her funeral. He would come to my office quite a bit to talk about things. I offered him comfort and friendship. My counselor asked me if I missed him. Heck no. But the betrayal by him just makes it worse. I really think had she just asked for a divorce, I would have handled it much better. Somehow, I feel I am a loser. He is better than me. I really screwed up and I am not going to get a chance to correct it. That eats at me. I am embarrassed. I am sure it is the first and only. The lie part comes when she told me that she checked out 4 years ago. I only really noticed a change last 3 years. I will say that she has a lot of issues, always has. Just that when you are 51 and you started dating 35 years ago, all the way through college, got married 2 weeks after I graduated. I will keep up my new exercise program. I really like it. But how does an old dog like me, who never really dated anyone else, start that process? I know it is going to be a while before I even want to, and best to wait. The thing is, I tried to make her happy. She will never allow herself to be happy. But like you said, problem now. I thank God I found this site 4 months ago. If now I would be crazy right now. Helps so much to vent and learn from others' experience. I do believe that she is feeling very guilty right now. Just wish she would show it more. My daughter said it best when she texted me and said, "Don't mourn her dad. She has changed into a hateful person. Always the victim, never her fault. I just got to get the room to stop spinning." Last night when I called for her decision and she said she didn't think she wanted to do that right now, I replied with, "Jay, I love you. You have been a great mother for our kids." She really has. "And you are one of the most caring people I know." Before this episode, and as long as it doesn't involve me, I really meant it. But obviously I can't make you happy and he does, so I wish you all the best. Rest of just let them go. We then talked about getting the attorney going on the agreement and said goodnight. So, I look at my phone and there is a text from her. "Did you say uncaring?" Sent at 4:18 a.m. We talked around 8 p.m. Is this the wavering you all warned me about? I am not excited. Think I have a chance again. Not going down that road ever again, but found that to be a really weird text. I believe that I am a long way from that happening, if does ever. Not going to wait around for that, I have to tell you, when I am not in the deep despair that just floods over me. I kind of like what is going on. I have been more active with exercise. Weight machines I use are awesome. I got up early Sunday morning, went out and trimmed my hedges. My W always did that before as she was a stay-at-home mom, then headed to church. Not a real churchy guy, but really enjoyed the modern music at this one. Have been walking each night, turned off the TV, and have been reading, something I always enjoyed, but never took the time to do anymore. In some ways this could very well be a much-needed wake-up call, just too bad the cost was so high. Parents have passed away, I have been flooded by friends, why I am able to function at all. Her family knows, they have been quick to support her, I haven't heard a word from them. My brother has been a rock, my 2 sisters have contacted her to offer support, and my 1 sister was cheated on the day she gave birth to her last child. Update, 22 days since finding out about the affair. Since I last talked with her a week ago when she didn't know what I was referring to when I said did you decide about our she remains in Florida with my daughter and granddaughter. My daughter only has supervised visitation, my wife is her supervisor, and as long as my wife stays there so does my granddaughter. The plan was that my daughter would continue to work on the requirements to be able to have my granddaughter full-time without anyone there. And she does seem to be making progress. Our first divorce hearing is August 19th, so time is getting short, as my wife will need to attend. The interesting thing is the other man by my daughter's accounts is being very difficult. For example, he called one day while my S was changing the baby's diapers. She told him she would call him back in 5 minutes. When 6 to 7 minutes had passed, he called her back asking why she had not yet phoned him. They have argued on the phone numerous times, with the big concern of him was she needs to get back to Indiana to be with him. The hell with my granddaughter, I guess. She is refusing so far to cave to his demands and even told my daughter how controlling the other man is. Tonight has been a real tough night, as I have had real anger all evening. I think it is my denial of my situation. I still desire R finally going away and the raw hurt now coming through. I have continued my workouts, dropped over 25 pounds and felt great. My 500 freestyle time has dropped 19 seconds as well. I gave up TV, have not watched any since I discovered the affair, not had a drop of alcohol, and have been spending a lot of time with my junior and college daughter, going to the movies, etc. as we are the only 2 people at our home. I have tried to black out interaction with my S, but has been hard as I am still financing a lot of the costs to keep my granddaughter, and I get a photo or 2 texted to me each day, which I really enjoy. My wife has mentioned to my daughter that she is not sure if she is coming back to live with the other man. I have attended 2 counseling sessions that I think have helped, but they sadden me as I realize more and more where I went wrong in the marriage, and the guilt and despair continues to pound on me. My last 2 years of my marriage were miserable for me, but I have a hard time remembering anything but the good times, which saddens me more. Will I ever feel whole again? I guess when my wife talks to my daughter about her options. I don't understand why moving back with me and working on R is not one of the options she mentions. I can't believe that she dislikes me that much, as in fact the time I spent in Florida while we were going through the process of getting my granddaughter back was actually a very good time. But seems once I left, my wife has just given up on me. I still feel guilt, great sadness and loneliness. I love my wife and want to work on our marriage with all my being. I have actually done a good job as far as she is concerned in just letting her go. Wonder if I will get over this, or if she will decide to give us a chance. I have decided that I will not ask her again to R. It is up to her. Then I think, am I doing the right thing? I of course am not dating or anything. For one, my divorce is not final for about 45 more days, and I consider myself married. 2, I need a bit of time, like 20 years, to get over this betrayal. Last night after I posted, I started packing up our bedroom of her things so when she gets back from Florida, I will have her stuff all ready to go. I really have to laugh as I have stated that the other man is a minimalist, my W a borderline hoarder. I filled 3 boxes, kind you get to store office files in, with just the stuff from the top of her dresser drawers, nightstand and placed about the room. He's going to end. Tonight, I attack her closet, going to be nice having some extra room for my stuff, going to move the bed around, rearrange things to suit me. Feel much better this morning. Last night I was as angry as I have been since finding out about the affair. Really took me by surprise. I went for a 2-mile walk in 100% humidity, sweating like a pig, and still my mind would not clear, so I came on here. I hope you all realize what a blessing you are, even the ones that I disagree with. To give of your time and expertise so readily is like food to a starving man. First off, it is not me that is fast-tracking the divorce. It is the only instruction she gave her attorney. Get it done as fast as possible and based on my financial situation. See earlier post. To divorce then seek R is by far the best choice for me. At this point I don't really care if we ever get remarried. In fact, probably don't want to. No need to, as being a business owner, paying my own insurance, etc. no difference. Second, she did not go to Florida to get away from the OM. She went because it was needed to get our granddaughter out of the social system. The trip there and the fact that she was going to stay for 4 to 6 weeks was decided back in April. I just threw a wrench in the works when I discovered the 3 days before we were scheduled to go. Had I not discovered the she would still be where she is, just talking to the OM behind my back instead of openly as she is now. She knows how I feel about her, but she is pushing on. I thank you for your opinion, but I believe just let them go is best in this situation for me. I am not necessarily throwing in the towel forever, but I am not going to stand around with my thumb up my either. I would think that the chance, even under the best of circumstances of R, is not that good. Throw in the fact she is not interested. There you go. And the resentment, from our talk it is very clear that she resents me big time. I wrote earlier on before finding out about the affair, and I realized what a total screwed up marriage I had going. I am finding out a lot about myself. It is very painful but necessary if I am going to go forward. Thanks for your input 8 and the others, but I just know when something is right, and the just let them go 180 approach is right in this case. Has she hurt me so intensely that it still takes my breath away if I allow myself to really think about it? Do I love her more than I did 6 months ago, more than any time in our marriage? It is killing me that with what I have learned I see what a great marriage we could still have. But I deserve someone that loves me and respects me and wants to be with me. If at some time she is interested and willing for all the hard work, right now I would be all in. But deserve to make sure that is how I truly feel, not a knee-jerk reaction to her betrayal. Still working on it all. I booked a $200 flight at 3 a.m. which cost me almost $800 because it was a same-day flight. Flew to Florida in the worst possible conditions. Bared my soul like you would never want to bare your soul to my wife. I asked her for forgiveness, offered her forgiveness as well, talked for 2 hours about our life together, how there were great times, and how they could have been better, and how I intended on seeing that they were. I stayed with her under the same roof for 4 days. All the time my insides were screaming from the hurt, but I held it in. I did all this because of 30 years of marriage. I gave it everything I had because in order to live with myself, that is what I needed to do. And I did it. She is not interested. I fought the good fight. Now it is up to her. I can live with myself now. I worry for her because someday she is going to realize all that I gave to save our marriage, and she is going to know that she did nothing. Think she has guilt now. I worry for her mental being when what she has done hits home. My comment: she will always be a victim. Victim mentality. People choose to be victims because it removes any responsibility off their shoulders. Makes it easy to skate through life. The only thing I would do in your situation is have your lawyer send her a letter to cease and desist contacting anyone in your business ever again. Part 2 coming tomorrow morning.